The woods, a place where the eerie silence and darkness can play tricks on even the most seasoned of hunters. Two stories, submitted to me by Robert Sherman and Nathan Zielinski, respectively, will take you on a journey into the heart of terror, where the unknown lurks in every tree and the line between reality and nightmare blurs. The first story begins on a crisp autumn day in upstate New York, where Robert Sherman, a seasoned hunter, takes his 10-year-old son Peter on their first hunting trip together. Armed with Remington Model 798 sniper rifles, they set out to bag some deer. As they settle into their spot, Robert senses something amiss. The air is heavy with an unsettling energy. Suddenly, they spot a strange individual lurking behind a tree, his face twisted in an unsettling way. Robert's instincts scream at him to leave, but he tries to maintain a sense of calm, hoping to get a glimpse of the stranger's intentions. As they pack up to leave, the stranger reappears, this time with a gruesome discovery, a human head, lying face first on the ground. Robert and Peter flee in terror, their hearts racing with fear. The second story takes us to the mountains of Colorado, where Nathan Zielinski, a novice hunter, joins his friends Anthony, Christian, Tom, and Diana on an elk hunting trip. As they set up camp, Nathan's discomfort with the killing aspect of hunting grows, but he decides to participate, hoping to prove himself. However, their peaceful evening takes a dark turn when they stumble upon a group of strange, inbred-looking men, who seem to be watching them with an unnerving intensity. Later that night, as Nathan lies in his sleeping bag, he hears footsteps outside the tent and decides to play a prank on his friends. But when he creeps over to their tent, he discovers a horrifying scene. Two men, the same ones they had seen earlier, are assaulting Diana. Nathan screams, and Anthony and Christian rush to the scene, firing shots to scare the attackers off. But as they look around, they realize that they are surrounded by more strange, menacing figures, hiding in the bushes and behind trees. These stories are a chilling reminder that the great outdoors can hold terrors beyond our wildest imagination. The woods, once a symbol of freedom and adventure, can become a realm of darkness and fear, where the unknown lurks in every shadow. The darkness of the night enveloped me like a shroud, as I sat perched in my tower, built a decade ago with secrecy and purpose. Jared the Sprinter, had spent countless hours honing my skills as an avid hunter, and this night was no exception. The forest, mere yards from my backyard, was my domain, and I knew its secrets like the back of my hand. My trusty night vision scope attachment allowed me to scan the landscape with uncanny precision, waiting for the slightest sign of movement. As the minutes ticked by, the silence was broken by the sound of crunching leaves and snapping twigs. My heart quickened its pace as I spotted a figure emerging from the shadows. My initial thought was of a hog or some other nocturnal creature, but as the figure drew closer, I realized with a jolt of surprise that it was a man, shrouded in darkness. His attire was a uniform black, sweatpants, shoes, and a hoodie with the hood pulled up over his face. What sent shivers down my spine, however, was the sack he was dragging behind him. The weight of my gaze settled upon him, my mind racing with the unthinkable. Was he attempting to bury a body? My breathing grew shallow as I continued to watch him, transfixed by the macabre scene unfolding before me. The man's pace slowed, and I could have sworn he glanced upwards, his eyes locking onto mine. Fear clenched my gut as I ducked beneath the wooden walls of my tower, my heart pounding in my chest. The thought of using my gun against a human being was anathema to me. And yet, I knew I couldn't just sit idly by as this sinister figure continued his nefarious deed. I lay there, frozen in terror, praying to the heavens that he hadn't spotted me. The darkness seemed to amplify the silence, and I was convinced that, despite the near-total blackness, my logic was sound. But then, the unthinkable happened. The wooden planks beneath my feet creaked, and I felt the tower vibrate as he began to ascend the ladder. My mind reeled as I asked myself the same question: could I bring myself to shoot someone? But it seemed the figure had other plans. He retreated down the ladder, his sack clutched tightly in his hand, and disappeared into the darkness once more. I remained motionless, my senses on high alert, for what felt like an eternity. When I finally dared to peer over the ledge again, the coast seemed clear. I took a deep breath and descended the ladder, my heart still racing with adrenaline. I fumbled for my pocket flashlight, a foolhardy move considering the gravity of the situation, and began to make my way back to my house. The night air seemed to grow heavier with tension as I ran, my footsteps echoing through the forest. I heard the footsteps behind me, growing louder with each passing second. I spun around, and in the flash of my light, I saw him, inches from my face. In a split second, I raised my gun and fired, striking him in the shoulder. He screamed in agony as I turned and sprinted towards my house. I didn't stop until I reached the safety of my front door, where I called the police, who arrived within 15 minutes with a full search squad. I led them to the exact location where I'd shot the man, and they followed the faint blood trail that led from the sack to the man himself, who was hiding beneath a log. He was taken into custody and later tried for the murder of Quen Sakanaki, a Japanese corner store owner. Though I don't know the full story behind his crimes, I will never forget this harrowing night, and I will continue to share it with the world for the rest of my life.